And anyway, tonight we're going to cover the perfect tense. So we will start with our opening prayer here. In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Ave Maria, gratia plena, Dominus tecum, benedicta tu in mulieribus, et benedictus fructus ventris tui, Iesus. Sancta Maria, Mater Dei, ora pro nobis peccatoribus, nunc et in hora mortis nostrae. Amen. Gloria Patri et Filio et Spiritui Sancto, sicut erat in principio et nunc et semper et in saecula saeculorum. Amen. Okay, perfect tense. Perfect evening for the perfect tense. And we get some rain too, thank goodness. Anyway, just describes that actions that occurred and or were completed in the past. In English, we cover the call that the simple past, like I did, I went, I ate, the simple past tense. And then something that we call the completed past tense in English is I have done, I have gone, I have eaten. So this is opposed to the imperfect, which is a continuing in the indefinite past. This is something that, hey, it's done and over with. So yeah, the imperfect, as I said, refers to something that happened in the past, but refers to a continuing or repeated event or state. Like I was going, I was eating, I used to be, I used to eat. Whereas the perfect is I ate or I have eaten. Now, I will warn you, there is some crossover between the two when Latin is rendered into good English. You will see the imperfect translated as the simple past. There are certain ways we say things in English, and it will sound a little better if you use it as a past tense. So just be aware that you may actually see that when you're looking at translations. But generally speaking, the perfect describes actions that are completed and occurred, and the imperfect does not. If the imperfect tense was the easiest tense in Latin, or so it is said, because it's the ba, the next easiest one is probably the perfect tense, because the endings for all four conjugations are identical. The isti, the it, the imus, the itis, and the erunt, which look a little bit like what the endings are for the present, not quite. The present would have an O in there, and this would be an is. This would be a it of some sort, or a ti, or a mus, and this would be a tis, and then this would be an unt. So there's a few extra vowels in there, but they kind of resemble it, okay? So memorize these, and you got all four conjugations, and we're done. Well, not quite. There is a hard part. The endings go on the third part of the verb forms, okay? If you remember, I've been kind of harping on when you see a verb in the Collins, in the vocabulary, or if you look it up for that matter, your dictionary, you got to memorize all four, okay? Well, now we're going to use it. We used the first one quite a bit, laudo, and we used the second one, the infinitive, laudare, to give us the A. Well, now we're going to use this third one, laudavi, which literally means I have praised or I praised. And so we're going to take the laudavi, and we're going to then put all those wonderful endings on there. So laudavi, actually, I should probably underline these. Laudavisti, laudavit. Whoop, I just want the it. laudavimus, laudavitis, and laudaverunt. So that's not too bad, but you need to know the third part for all the verbs that we've had. And we've had quite a few. Let me go through some of the examples. And now later on, I will mention briefly that there are classes that resemble one another, but be advised, and we'll get to it in a minute, that they don't all, there is no one general rule that allows you to say with complete confidence what that third part is. You just really need to sit down and memorize them. Anyway, let's go with the first conjugation, laudo, our usual to praise, to laud. So we have that third part, our lauda, or I should say our laudav. So we take our laudav and we add those endings. So laudavi. Oh, guess what? I made that mistake in all of them, didn't I? Ooh. Oh, there we go. Teresa was pointing out to me earlier that I had a will in there for one of them. Did I make that in all of it? Yep. Hey, I'm consistent. Oh, well, we'll fix it real time. So laudavi, I have praised, or I praised. Laudavisti, thou hast praised. Laudavit, he, she, it has praised. Laudavimus, we have praised. Laudavistus, you have praised, and laudaverunt, they have praised, or they praised, either one. Any questions so far? Okay. Moneo, or monera, where our verb to warn, to advise. So there's our third part, monu. So we're going to take monu and we're going to add the very same endings. So monui, I have warned. Monuisti, thou hast warned. Monuit, it has warned. Monuimus, we have warned. Monuistis, you have warned. And monuerunt, they have warned.
Can you pronounce that last one again?
Let's see. Oh, you know what? Let me also make sure I do that. Whoops. I don't want an A in there. Monu. There. Hold on. What's going on here? Oh, hold on just a second. I know what the problem is. I'm using the wrong keyboard. There. Okay. This is a long E, erunt, and the accent goes on there. So manuerunt.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a little hard. I find it hard to make that U short. Technically, it is short in here. So you want to kind of go as opposed to oo. But you put an oo in there with an erunt, and it comes out longer in my mouth than it really should be. So manuerunt. Duco, ducere, duxi. Now, this one, a lot of first conjugation have the AVI ending, okay? A lot of the second conjugations go with the UE, or sorry, the UI. But when you hit the third conjugations, though, they're all over the place, okay? So you would, it's not duvi like first conjugation, but it is a duxi. So the C becomes an X here. Anyway, our perfect stem is dux, and our endings are the same. And so duxi, I have led. Duxisti, 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 thou hast led. Duxit, He, she, it will lead. Whoops. Power of copy and paste. To err is human, but to really foul things up requires a computer propagating your errors at the speed of light. He, she, it has led. Duximus, we have led. Duxistis, you have led. Duxerunt, they have led. So, and then capio, another third conjugation verb, but the perfect stem is cepi, cepi, cepi. So, cepi, I have taken. Cepisti, thou hast taken. Cepit, he, she, it has taken. I think I'm going to have to send out a new set of notes here. Cepimus, we have taken. Cepistis, you have taken. Ceparunt, they have taken. Usually when I double check my charts, I check it for Latin mistakes. And now I see I next need to pay closer attention on the English. Any questions there? All right. And of course, we have the fourth conjugation, audio, audire, audivi. So the perfect stem is audiv. And again, same endings. So as I said, other than the fact that this part varies because of the, it's the third part of the verb form, it's really not so bad because it's all the same there on the endings across the four conjugations. So audivi, I have heard. Audivisti, long I, short I. Audivisti, thou hast heard. Audivit, he, she, it has heard. And I should probably, did I put those all in? I didn't put all those in parentheses in the previous charts, did I? Shame on me. Tell you what, let me grab that and go back and fix that before I forget. There we go. What I usually do is duplicate the tables, and then evidently I didn't get all of them. Audi vimus, short I, we have heard. Audi vistis, you have heard. Audi verunt, they have heard. And that long I before the V is characteristic of the fourth and the first conjugation. So maybe that might make it easier to memorize. Anyway, what I did here is I put together a table of our forms for the various verbs. And I did this just to show you the consistency of endings across all of them and the somewhat inconsistent forms that the verbs take. So again, you will have to memorize them as you learn verbs because there's no way around it. But there is some good news. There are patterns that can help. So as I mentioned, the ARE words, the first conjugation, usually follow a pattern like laudo, laudare, laudavi, laudatus. So we have that one. We have amo, amare, amavi, amatus, to love. Ambulo, ambulare, ambulavi, ambulatus, to walk. But it's not, 100%. There are exceptions. Adiuvo, adiuvare, adiuvi. So we have the U here instead of the straight AVI, AVI, and adjutus. And there's a lengthening of the vowel here as well for the perfect and the past participle. So, just beware of that. On the other hand, if you do see going back here, these I, isti, it, imus, istis, erunt endings, you're pretty much guaranteed that that is a perfect active tense verb, or it's a past tense verb. So it does help if you're reading along and you're unfamiliar with a noun, you can at least say, ah, this is past tense. And of course, then you whip out your dictionary and hopefully look it up. ERE words, they follow a pattern like moneo, as we saw, which is the manui. And as I said, it's a short U, which makes it, I find it a little hard to pronounce, but okay. So moneo, to warn. Remoneo is to warn again, okay. Timeo is to fear, to be afraid of. So timeo, timui, and no, we're not saying tomato, tomato. It's, well, timeo, timui. Debeo, to owe or to ought to, if it's the infinitive. And then debui. This is where we get our debita nostra. Those are debts in the Our Father. This is where that word comes from, is that which you owe, which in English we call a debt. And it can be a monetary debt, like you owe the bank, to pay your mortgage. Or it can also be a debt in a social sense, like I owe you a favor, or I am indebted to you for X. So it doesn't have to be just money. And the Our Father, when it says debita, it really does mean those things that you owe, either those things that you owe God or those things that you owe another person for some reason or another. But go ahead.
Yeah, there that with the ought to thing, you're talking about things that we ought to do. Would that be similar to like we ought to think kindly of people, or that kind of ought to, or is it more like a physical, since we're members of a community, we ought to help each other type thing?
Oh, good question. No, I think it's both. I think it'd be both. Now, and when I say infinitive, it's in the infinitive form. So often. But yeah, no, it can be both.
Okay,
But
thank you.
as I said, not all. We have a deleo, a delere, that's second long E, but we have a delevi in there. And by the way, that is to delete, to destroy, to wipe out. So yeah. So again, you can get some of them, and you can make a good guess in a lot of cases, but not everything. ERE words, the third conjugation, those are a lot. They vary a lot. Okay. First, second, and fourth, you can make a guess, and you'll probably more often than not be right. But third is generally not obvious. Now, there are families of words, okay, that follow the same pattern, but these are just like subfamilies, okay? So duco, to lead, ducere, duxi, rego, I rule, regere, to rule, rexi, rectus. So you can see how duco and the rego sort of follow the same pattern. Okay, goes to an X, and then you have the ductus and the rectus. Capio has, and its forms, or the derivatives. By the way, the derivatives of a lot of these also match. You have capio, but you have cepi and captus. Well, you might guess the coptus back with capio, but the chapi is wouldn't be one that I would normally guess. So accipio, accipara, accepi, same thing, to accept. Capio is to take, to capture, to seize, to grasp. And accipio is a compound from that, and that is to accept. And you can kind of see accipara and accepi, you can kind of see how the word our word accept probably did indeed derive from that form. But again, they really do tend to vary all over the place. So cedo, cedera, cesi. So to go, to yield. So again, you will need to really sit down and memorize them. I think what you'll find is the ones that tend to follow the nice pattern will be easier to remember, but you will have to just go through there. And last, IRE verbs are, I mentioned and I alluded to, are often follow a similar pattern. The audio, audivi, adeo, to go to approach, adivi, okay. But you have venio, venire, veni. And this is kind of this one you got to be a little careful now. Notice that in the present tense, venio is short e, and then in the past tense, it's long e. So venio, venis, venit. Yeah, exactly. Veni, vidi, vici. So veni is past tense. I came. And that should be vidi. Yeah, not vini. Wasn't Vinny the guy on what was that show? Shoot.
My Cousin Vinny.
Yeah, no, it was an old show. I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, so you will say veni, venisti, venit. In fact, venit is he, she, it came, and venit is he, she, it comes. Thank you. Welcome back, Cotter. That's the one. I knew it was an old one. So yeah, so if I say venit, he came or she came or it came. But if I say veni, it's he, she, or sorry, venit, should be a short I. It's he, she, it comes. And we have, in fact, the word to come has a similar thing. We say I come, I came. We have a single vowel shift to distinguish the two. It's just this particular one is really easy to mess up because everybody, veni, vidi, vici, but veni, veni, Emmanuel. O come, Emmanuel. Well, it shouldn't be sung as veni, 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 because that means I came, I came, I came. What you want to do is veni, veni, veni. You want to use the imperative singular form, O come, Emmanuel. But you're never going to get the choir to distinguish that because it's hard to, short E's can be a bit awkward to sing if you have to hold them for any length. But it is nevertheless, it is a short E. So, okay. So any questions on the perfect tense? Okay. Remember to write those out as many times as you need to get them down cold. And I will remind you again that Lucas Ranieri says 100 times each. I'll settle for 10. Really, do write them out, and writing them and speaking them at the same time is a way better way of reinforcing them. Typing is not the same. I don't know why. It just is not. And when I'm trying to spell a word, I'm generally better at spelling when I'm writing than when I'm typing. And it's not because of poor typing skills. I think it's just the way, typing is kind of a generic sort of action, whereas writing has very specific muscle movements. And so you have muscle memory involved in there.
I was gonna say muscle memory to brain memory.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, very much so. So, all right. So, by the way, anybody want to try translating this?
Your high horse.
Yeah, you got it. That's my high horse. I'm on my high horse. Memorize, write down. All right. If there's no more questions on the perfect, we will hit the second one, which is, I'm sorry. Yeah, we have to do the perfect tense of to be. You've seen this chart before. Sum, I am, eram, I was, and ero, I will be. Okay. Es, thou art, eras, thou wert, eris, thou will be. Est, he, she, it is. Erat, he, she, it was. Erit, he, she, it will be. And then sumus, eramus, erimus, estis, eratus, eritis, sunt, erant, and erunt. I put this up like way early in this syllabus to show you that these endings are all over the place. Well, now we get to add the perfect part for to be. And this one is really kind of strange. I mean, you kind of sort of see it with the eram and ero and eras and erit. So sum is first person, esse, to be. So if you were Shakespeare, or Hamlet, you would say esse, vel, non esse, to be or not to be. But the perfect stem is fui, which I'm sure you can have a lot of fun with. It really is fui, it's kind of like phooey, really. The U is short, so you don't want to drag out the U, but fui. And then the futurus, which is the participle, which we'll get to. I think no, I don't think that's the next one. I think that's the one after next chapter. But anyway, so to say I have been is fui. To say thou hast been is fuisti. Sorry, fuisti, short I, fuisti. And then he, she, it has been is fuit. Let's see. Te commissa fuit. Oh shoot, I'm trying to remember the prayer now. It'll come to me. We have been fuimus. Y'all have been fuistis, and they have been fuerunt. And you will see these forms in the liturgy. Okay. Let's see. What's it? Shoot. Commissa fuit. Okay, now this is going to bother me. I am going to look up this prayer because I believe, let's see here. Oh, yeah, the Virginum Custos et Patris. That's what it is. Okay. All right, hold on just a second. All right. There we go. And let's see, where is you? I'll find it. Hold on just a second. I'm finding it. Oh, no, it's under basics. Silly me. There we go. this where it is? Nope. Oh dear. Where did I put it? I'm on the web. Don't mind me here. Here it is. Okay. Okay. Oh, it's not on my website. Wow. Okay. Anyway, there is a well-known prayer to Saint Joseph, which I will fetch here. Oh boy, where is it? Here, let me find a copy here. I can't believe I don't have this. Okay. There we go. And I will put this maybe, there we go. That is a well-known prayer to Saint Joseph after Mass. And apparently it's not in my catalog. I'm sure it is anyway. So, Virginum custos et pater. Well, here, let me do this. Let me create a new slide. And there we go. Now everybody can see it, right? So custos is guardian. Virginum is, we haven't had the third conjugation yet, but that means guardian of virgins. So guardian and father of virgins. Sancti Joseph, Holy Joseph. Cuius fideli custodiae, whose faithful guardianship of, or custody of innocence itself, Jesus Christ and the Virgin of Virgins, Mary, commissa fuit. So there it is. A lot of words in here that we haven't quite gotten to. Well, we've gotten to a lot of them. So anyway, so there it is. The point being is that you will see these in the liturgy from time to time. Any questions on the perfect, be it the four conjugations or the verb to be? Okay. Relative pronouns. Okay, now these are not the pronouns you use when your relatives come, or the pronouns you think about using when your relatives are coming. What they do is relative pronouns introduce a clause which modifies the antecedent noun. Well, what does that mean? Well, in English, they are who, whose, whom, what, which, and the like. So, for an example, the Lord who is just and merciful. So who, okay, refers back to the Lord. So in some sense, it is a an adjective in some sense, but it's really a relative pronoun, and is just and merciful. So it introduces a clause there. No, not where. Where is a different problem. Where is not a pronoun. Friday, which is a day of abstinence, we do not eat meat. So which refers back to Friday, and it's usually introduces it does introduce a clause that is designed to modify that previous noun. So Friday, a day of abstinence, the Lord just and merciful. So it always refers back to a noun, and it's really not too bad, because in English it is who, whose, whom, which, what. Now, an interrogative adjective works similarly, but its interrogative means to ask a question. Okay. So interrogative adjectives function in a similar manner, but the interrogative adjective modifies the noun by asking a question instead of introducing a clause. So in English, that's primarily translated as which and what. And I'll get back to we'll talk about which and what in a different context here in a minute. But for the moment, what the examples are is which priest was celebrating the mass today. The which goes with the priest. What commandment is first? So the which is an adjective, it modifies priest. What is the adjective, it modifies commandment. And these are interrogative adjectives because we are asking a question. Which priest, what commandment, okay? You might be thinking, let's see, did I do this next? Let me skip ahead here. Did I put it in here? Okay. No, I'll get to that later. Never mind. I'm skipping too far ahead. So here is the table of these, okay? So we have the masculine, feminine, neuter forms. The singular forms are kind of like the first and second conjugations, kind of, sort of.
Question.
Yes.
Are those two genitive meant to be?
You're gonna have to get closer to the mic, Adam.
Are the two ones genitive and dative? Are they supposed to be C's? Because the rest are Q's, so I wasn't sure.
No, they are supposed to be C's.
Okay.
Yep, cuius. Cuius in both cases. Yep. They are C's, and I guess, and the dative as well. Yeah, both the genitive and the dative. So I guess they get tired of chiseling Q's into monuments, so they just did a C. No, I actually have no idea why the form changed.
Because genitive and dative in the plural are also Q's.
Yep, those are all Q's. So now the other thing is these endings also mirror the third declension, which we haven't had yet. So what you're kind of stuck with here is memorizing them. Now, one thing to remember about neuter nouns is the accusative form is always the same as the nominative form. And this is true in the singular and the plural, okay? And if you remember, let's see, I'm trying to remember a neuter noun, regnum, yeah. The plural is a simple A, regna. And so I don't know if that helps or not, but you have the quad, you have the AE and the AE there. So that might help you memorize it. These are quos, quas, like dominos or dominas, which would be the accusative form of masters or mistresses. So anyway, the important thing here is they either introduce the clause or they are used as a question in the clause. So let me show you some examples here. Let's just go to the examples. If you go to the Latin Mass at all, or well, even at the English Mass at Annunciation, they generally sing the chants in Latin. At least I think they do. It's been a while since I've been to one. So Agnus Dei, qui tollis peccata mundi, the Lamb of God who takest away the sins of the world. Pater noster, qui es in celis. These are relative pronouns because they introduce a clause and it refers back to the original noun. Beatus vir curius est auxilium obste. Blessed is the man whose help is from thee. Psalm 83, verse 6. Okay. See how these work? I got some more. In filiis hominum, in quibus non est salus. This is Psalm 145. In the children of men in whom there is no salvation, meaning the only salvation is from God, not from mortal man. Non sunt loquele neque sermones quorum non audiantur vocis eorum. There are no speeches, there are no speeches, sermons, nor languages of which quorum, that's the genitive form, their voices are not heard.
I'm
And-
assuming that quorum is not related to the quorum for holding a meeting or anything. It's a different.
Not
part of
even
the-
close. Not even close. Actually, that's an interesting question. Let me consult my dictionary here, just see where quorum.
It's not being used in the same way, so I didn't think it was related.
Let's see here. Oh, I see. Interesting. Yeah, it is related. It refers to justices of the peace used in commissions for committee members. And so you would form this committee, quorum vos, or of whom we wish to do something, okay? And so you would have a quorum of these people, you know, let's see if I can not use the same word in the definition, meaning the people of which that you have assigned this task. That's apparently the way it came into English, but no. Quorum is, if you go back here, you find that is the genitive plural form. And I don't put now, I would like to mention, normally I put like a direct translation, but you can't, because it depends on what the gender of the preceding noun is. So agnus, masculine, qui. Pater, masculine, qui. So in those cases, we would use who. I do have Alma Redemptoris Mater, quer pervia celi portamanes. You may be familiar with the Alma Redemptoris Mater. This works out to loving mother of the Redeemer, who remains the accessible gateway of heaven. Now, before you translate qui, que, and quod, hold on, I have a cat. Speaking of, come on, out you go. If the cat spoke Latin, he would be welcome to class, but he doesn't. I just happen to pick people in all of these cases. Let's see, do I have another example? No, that's too bad. So if I pick something, if I picked a different word here, such as an inanimate object, okay. Let's put the water of baptism, qui tollit peccata mundi, would have to be translated as the water of baptism that takes away the sins of the world. All right, not terribly theologically correct, but that what I'm pointing out to is the who, the what, the where, the whose will depend upon what the use of the word is and what the English demands. So you can't just say who, because it could be a witch. Let's see, do I have, yeah, Friday, which is a day of abstinence. So we would say feria sexta, which is Friday. Qui, well, actually que, since it's feria, excuse me, feminine. So you would have Friday, que. So don't just automatically plug those in for who, whose, to whom, etc. You need to be sensitive to what the English is as to whether it's a who or a that or a which, depending upon the whether it's a person or not, etc. That does not make any difference in Latin. Rather, you use the appropriate who based on the masculine, feminine, or neuter, and which case it is in. And in English, we have to then modify, or if you're translating in English, we then have to modify it accordingly. So let's see. Interrogative adjective. Oh, actually, before I go any further, any questions there? Okay. Are there any Doctor Who fans out there?
I used to watch it a long time ago, but it's been quite a while since I've seen an episode.
All right. Well, there's a great Latin joke in one of the Doctor Who episodes, but if you're not a Doctor Who fan, I won't. Yeah, we'll just moving right along. They had a lot of Latin jokes, actually. The old BBC, series. Not so much now. Okay, interrogative adjectives. Okay, same adjectives. The only difference is they come right before the noun, and they also match gender and number. So, which minister, qui minister hodie missam celebrat? Which minister was celebrating Mass today? Okay. Cui viro dedisti pecuniam? To which man did you give the money? Okay, dative. Cui. Cui. Okay. Quam feminam vidisti? Which woman did you see? The reason this is quam, A, it's feminine, and two, it's a direct object. This, of course, is the subject of the sentence. This is the direct object, and this is the indirect object, excuse me. And this is the direct object. So you adjust them accordingly, and adjust the English accordingly, depending upon what the needs of English is to use the right pronoun there, relative pronoun or interrogative pronoun. See, do I have any? Oh, okay, yeah, that's the one I was going to get to eventually. Any questions there? All right. Note that qui, que, quod, oops, I left out a comma, are relative pronouns or interrogative adjectives. Okay. They refer back to a particular noun in the sentence. They are not what is called indefinite pronouns. I'll underline that, which are used to ask the general question of who or what. The difference is indefinite pronouns do not have a noun to modify. Okay. And we have a long way to go. It's unit 24 before we get to them. I'm not sure why he puts them off so far, because they're not all that difficult, but that's where they are. So quis, I should underline that, is the general purpose word. Let me throw that in there for who. Okay. So, quis vidisti? Who didst thou see? Okay. That is opposed to qui minister. You're not saying who minister, you're saying which minister. Okay. But if you wanted to say who was celebrating Mass today, you would say quis hodie missam celebrat, or sorry, celebrabat, imperfect. So qui is which. Let's see, quis. Oh, you know what? Quis. Hold on. Actually, is that long? You know, I've always made it long, to tell you the truth. And let's see if I'm wrong or right. Quis. I will double check that, Teresa. I've been saying quis, but I think you're right. It might be, but it's quid. It's not quid, it's quid. So you're right. It's quis and quid. Oh, well. Yeah, quis. Quis vidisti? Who didst thou see? Quid is the general purpose word for what? So quid edisti? What didst thou eat? So if you're asking a question, it'll be prefaced with a where you're saying who, or you're saying what, and there is no noun there to modify, then you use quis or quid. And that's not to be just confused with a 5-pound note in.
There's an Abbott Costello joke in there somewhere.
I'm sure there's got to be. Let me write a note. Hold on. All right.
Quid stands for what? What?
Who's on first? There is a Latin version. There is a Latin video on there. Let me. I'm gonna add this to my calendar because I know I'm going to forget. So there we go. There. Okay. I will dig that up. There is somebody actually did do the Latin version of that, and it's fairly easy to understand. So I'll try and get the text to go along with the audio. Yeah, we'll see if we can throw that in there. So just realize that these are indefinite pronouns. There is no noun to modify. And these are relative pronouns or interrogative adjectives where they either introduce a clause or you use them to start a question. But again, they modify the particular noun in question. So any questions there? Okay. So we are done early. Well, read and study units 1 through 9. Keep on going. You need to get those first and second declension endings down cold, and then you've got to get the verb forms down as well. Present, imperfect. Oh, now we got to add future. Let me modify this chart. And future, active and passive. Oops, there we go. Unit 9 has a number of useful adverbs, so you might want to go back and review that. Unit 10 has a lot of good vocabulary as well. So what we'll do next time, I think, is we will attack Unit 10 exercises. After we do that, because I want to give people some practice working with the perfect form. Once we do that, I want to take a short excursion, and I haven't figured out where, into some of the mass texts, because at this point we've had all of the important verb forms. Now, there are other verb forms that you haven't had, so there will be some in there, but you've had most of the important verb forms. For example, in the credo in unum deum, you've had all the verb forms in there, okay? In the Hail Mary, you've had all the verb forms. There are in the Confiteor, you've had all the verb forms. There's probably others, I'm sure I could. The Sanctus, you've had all of them. The Agnus Dei, you've had all of them. So you've actually come along quite a ways, whether you realize it or not. So I would like to do some of the mass texts. If you have suggestions as to which one to pick, I would be very interested in it. Shoot me an email. That's probably the best way. And it won't be next time. Next time we're going to do the exercises. I said I want to get through the exercises. The addition of these interrogative adjectives. Well, where do we have the? Whoops, sorry, it's the wrong end. There we go. See, okay, qui es in celis. So there are, you've got a lot of it there. What you haven't had now, pater noster. Okay, we haven't had noster. Oh, actually, is that true? Noster, nostri. No, actually, I think you have had noster. But pater you haven't. It's actually a third declension noun. We have not had there's 5 declensions of nouns. We've had the first 2. The feminine ones, the first declension, Maria, Domina, Ecclesia, forgotten what all the words you've got, the vocabulary that we've had on those. And then the second declension, which are the masculine nouns, and then the neuter nouns, dominus, agnus, etc. And then there's a third declension, which has a boatload of nouns. There's a fourth and a fifth that have some nouns. You don't run into either of them a whole lot, but they're pretty easy to well, actually, there's a couple of important ones there in there that you run into all the time, but it's a short list, so it's not too bad. We have not had the third declension yet, so that's a bit of a handicap. And what I probably will do is briefly mention the third declension, and then we'll do the texts. I'll think about that some. But if you have suggestions or a particular text, prayer, hymn, whatever, I send it to me and I'll think about it. One thing, by the way, is, the other thing I might do is highlight. I'm not going to call them exactly mistranslations of the Missal, but let's say interesting translations, in the sense of they departed from the literal sense of the word. I don't know, maybe we'll throw that in too. It just as a kind of a FYI. I use the IMAS app a lot for the extraordinary form. And it's interesting to see how some of those psalms are translated into English versus what the actual Latin is. I don't know. But send me suggestions so that would be useful to you. So are there any questions at all? As interesting as Google. Well, oh, yeah. All right. We got a few minutes yet. So yeah, I got to show you some stuff. What Google does. Oh yeah. Okay, here we go. Let me swap. Yeah, here we go. New share.
Has gone considerably better, but still
Yeah, well, all right.
they're too focused on adding more languages and not focused on enough on it, perfecting it. You can see how many new languages they have here.
Let us switch this for a moment. Let's do Latin over here. Oh, darn it. Won't let me switch. Itchy, hello.
You're currently on detect language. You need to choose English for that one over there.
Oh, I see. You're right. Thank you.
Now you can switch it.
Now I can. Well, yeah. Let's see. Switch. There we go. All right. So let's put. All right. What was it I was doing? Oh. Oh no, sorry. Let's go this way. We ate the bread. There we go. This is the English. This is the Latin. Now I will grant you that we is nos. Okay. If you remember, we haven't really talked about the personal pronouns. I think I've shown them once. Ego is I. Me is the accusative form. Well, nos, et nos inducas, and let us not. So this is we or us. Chibum is food. In fact, let's do this. Let me fix this share here. Let us add, there we go. Let me add this and this. Okay. There. Can you see the dictionary down here?
Yep.
Okay, good.
Yes, we can.
All right, let's put in chibum. And we find that means food. All right. Okay. So we, food, and you will find that panis is bread. Panis angelicus, whoops, let me get the right panis, there we go, is bread. So we ate the bread comes out as we, food, bread. Okay, but we can then add yesterday. Notice what it does now. Nos hesterno die panem manducavimus. Nos is us. Hesterno die is literally yesterday. Well, that's not a great version of doing yesterday, but I don't want to get into that. Panem is now in the accusative, as it should. And then manducavimus is another form of eat. If you recall the words of consecration, it uses the manduco, manducare, to eat, to chew in the consecration. So it's another way of saying eat. So they actually almost get that right. But notice the only difference is I put in a yesterday. This is nothing. That's gibberish. We can swap it around here and put nos panem, P-A-N-E-M, and then we can we can do the manduca.
For a second, when it said nos panem, it said we are the bread of bread.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, we ate bread. So it recognized that. But yeah, oh, yeah, nos panem is we are the bread or our bread. No, that is not our bread. That is us, and that is bread, and you need a uh, copy moose or something. Copy moose. We take bread. There we go. So sometimes they get it right, but oftentimes it really kind of depends on what you're doing as to whether it's close or not. So it's so the good news is Latin translators such as myself are not out of a job yet. So, okay, enough of that. Let's go back to the, there we go. There we go. All right. So any last minute questions? Okay, well then.
Wait, a quick question.
Sure.
When are we gonna start making our own sentences out of curiosity?
Well, okay. That's actually not a bad exercise. That's why I wanted to kind of pause here at unit 10 for the moment, because you have a lot of stuff under your belt. And it's also a good idea. We kind of marched through some of these tenses pretty quickly. And certain feast days kind of also messed up the schedule. Let me think about that, Adam. That would actually be a good exercise, is for people to come up with. In fact, maybe that's a good thing to do. Is I'll make an assignment where everybody has to send me 5 sentences, and then I'll put them all in the
I want to
charts.
point out, Michael, you actually did that once, and you're very kind on Facebook, to help me
Yep.
out and correct it. So that's always been something we could do. And
Yeah.
Michael's been pretty good, patient with me.
Yeah, well, what I'm thinking is I may make a homework assignment where I ask everybody to send in I don't know, 3 sentences, 5 sentences, I don't know, something like that. And then I'll put them all in charts, just the Latin as it is. And then we'll go through and try and understand each one of them. And that way, if there's any mistakes, by the way, then you'll be able to see what the mistake is. And since these will all be anonymous, nobody will know, who forgot to use a polite infinitive instead of a harsh imperative or something. So, yeah, I might consider that. Remind me about that next time, Adam. Yeah. I like the idea.
I just tried typing this is a funny one. I just tried typing in a very good example of why Google Translate is terrible. I tried typing in "God Save the Queen" and it came up as trium 3. It came up as 3.
Priam?
Although it also gives options for Salve Regina, Hail Queen, and Salve Reginam, Hello Queen, but not God Save the Queen.
I gotta put this in here. I gotta try.
Why not God? Why didn't you recognize God as a word?
I don't know,
All it comes up with is Save the Queen, basically, and
okay,
it first
so
comes
you
up
wanna
with
go
3
from
of the
English,
3.
God save the
Queen.
Priam.
It gets a little closer if you do like the first line of it, God save our gracious.
Well, let's put in God save our queen. Okay, now you put in God save our queen, and you get Salve Regina Nostra.
Yeah. Hail
okay,
our queen, but
that's
save
our
close.
Queen, but they're missing the subject here. Wow. Okay, I'll have to add that to my list of interesting Okay, let's just try God save us. Okay, now you say God save us, it has Deus nos salvet. Well, that's close. What they did
It
is,
has another option for Deus salva nos, which is
Yeah.
God save us. It
well, the
says.
salvet is the subjunctive. So really what they're saying there is may God save us. That's close. I mean,
Right.
really God save us is Deus. Uh,
So if you
salve
took
nos.
that and added, and you did Deus no salve, let's say Regina. God bless us, Queen.
Yeah. Oh, now here's interesting. God save us, and the Queen does come out as Deus nos
Yes.
salvet et regina.
What'd you type in?
God save us and the Queen. Here, let me.
We can't see what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I've gotten totally distracted here. I'm gonna blame it all on Adam, but
Sounds like a plan.
yeah, it is. Yeah, see, now that's close, but if we take out God's and just say God save the Queen. Apparently, maybe that's the name. See, maybe that's the name of the British national anthem, the Triumph.
It is.
Well, just
Oh yeah, let me look it
three.
up.
Yeah, it just means
God,
three. You know, Triumph is the so I
God
don't know where that is. And
save,
God save the King.
God save the
Whoop,
King. Let's see
King.
here.
Now, Salve Rex is save the King, but there's no Dave. So figure that out. We can switch. Yeah. Oh, hello, King. Yeah, that's what I translated back. Well, enough of this. Enough of this. Let's get back to. Yeah. What simple minds are amused by Google Translate. I guess I don't know. Anyway. All right. Let's close again. Next time, do the exercises. See, we don't. Oh, yeah. And we'll meet next time and go through them and then discuss exactly which texts we want to do or which exercises we might want to do. I will now meet everybody. In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Pater noster, qui es in celis, sanctificetur nomen tuum, adveniat regnum tuum, fiat voluntas tua, sicut in cielo et in terra. Panem nostrum quotidianum da nobis hodie, et debite nobis debita nostra, sicut et nos debitimus debitoribus nostris, et ne nos inducas in tentationem, sed libera nos a malo. Amen. So we are done, and have a good Fourth.